Ever since the godfather of all things electric, Thomas Edison, created one of the first prototypes over 100 years ago, the world has been dubious about the electric car revolution. Whether it be their size, their design, charging times or performance, something just hasn't quite fitted. Until now. In the last few years, faster charge times, longer battery life and breathtaking performance have changed the landscape of electric cars forever. But there was still one final piece of the jigsaw missing. Step forward, the Jaguar I-PACE eTROPHY.
This history-in-the-making championship will witness drivers compete on inner-city street circuits in 9 of the world's greatest cities, and we opened in Saudi Arabia at the end of 2018, with Simon Evans becoming the inaugural winner in a bumper-to-bumper race. Each driver will compete behind the wheel of specially adapted and all identical electric road cars with a top speed of 195 kilometers an hour, 700 Newton meters of instant torque and a 0 to 100 kilometer an hour time of just 4.5 seconds.
Welcome to round 2. Welcome to Mexico City. And welcome to a whole new type of electric street racing.
After an epic season opener in Saudi Arabia, we have travelled 14,000 kilometres here to the city streets of Mexico.
Yes, this is race 2 of the Jaguar I-PACE eTROPHY, and it's so exciting. Really looking forward to this race, because what makes this race series so special is that we can actually go out and purchase these cars. The Jaguar I-PACE is available, so we're watching a road car on the track. Now, Amanda, you've had your ear to the ground. You've been chatting to the drivers, you've been chatting to the mechanics. Let's talk about the changes that have been made since Saudi Arabia.
So we've got 12 cars on the grid. We've got a couple of new drivers. There's a change to the Chinese lineup, and we have a new VIP driver. So we have Salvador Duran standing in for this race. Interesting to see how he gets on here, actually.
It really will, because he is a Mexican superstar. I mean, everywhere he's been walking around this racing track, he's been pulled, he's been pushed, he's been signing stuff, he's been doing loads and loads of selfies. So it's going to be really exciting to see him on the track and watching the reaction of the fans here in this amazing stadium, because this is an epic venue for this race.
They do love their motorsport here in Mexico.
They really do. And what about the drivers? Anything that they've been doing since Saudi Arabia?
Yep, so we've had both Brian and Catherine were racing out in Daytona. They were doing really well until, unfortunately, rain stopped play for them. In AMS, Ahmed bin Kanan, he came first in the Bahrain 2000 championship, so that's obviously great. He's really getting podium after podium. But I think the best news is that we have a baby bueno. Very exciting. So Caca Bueno had a baby daughter born, I think 4 days after he got back from Saudi Arabia, so he was very lucky to get home in time for that.
I'm sure he can get a baby seat for the back of his I-PACE. That won't be a problem.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the cars. Anything different in this Mexico race compared to what was going on in Saudi Arabia?
Well, the cars, actually, that's interesting, because they've been off to Archeplog. Now, this is Jaguar's cold weather test facility in northern Sweden, right on the edge of the Arctic Circle. Now, they're testing there in temperatures as low as -40, and it's really important. The learnings, both from here, from the track, and from Archeplog, these all go into the road cars that people can buy.
Well, like we said earlier on, that's what makes this race series so exciting, is the development in this racing series goes straight into the production car.
That's right, yeah.
It's absolutely awesome. Well, it's really exciting stuff, and really looking forward to the race here in Mexico City. Well, let's quickly go back to Saudi Arabia, because that race, for the first race in this racing series, it was pretty epic. It was bumper to bumper from start to finish until the very last lap. There was a huge overtake between 2 drivers in particular. One got a little bit annoyed, one got very, very excited. Emotions were running high. Let's take a look at what the drivers thought of the last race in Saudi Arabia.
Near the Saudi Arabian capital of Riyadh lies the ancient city of Ediria. Welcome to the opening of a new chapter in the all-electric motorsport.
The first ever Jaguar I-PACE eTROPHY Series races go!
The race was going on. I made sure I hit every brake mark, every turning point, because I knew if I made a mistake, Brian or Sergio would have passed me.
I was behind Simon. I was waiting, watching, letting things play out, trying to analyze the game that was happening.
And Sellers is really close to the back of Simon Evans as they come up the straight.
And I was just waiting for the right time for it to all unfold. As I glanced into my mirror to make the move on Simon, Sergio had timed it better than I had and had already made the move on me.
These three really getting close. There goes Jimenez up the inside of Sellers. Great move.
I was planning attack since the start. I want to win the race. Ryan slipped a little bit, and I closed it off, and I said it's now or never.
I was angry, very angry. You sit in second the entire race. You feel like you have this opportunity to win, and then you feel like you've given it all away.
Simon Evans about to make history.
I come around the last corner, saw the checkered flag, and then I realised I'd actually won the first race.
It's the checker flag and the win for Simon Evans.
So we're here in Mexico City, and for me, this is one of the events I look forward to the most.
Mexico City is a special and unique atmosphere, for sure. Just like one big, exciting party.
The Mexican fans, it's like a Brazilian fans, so make some noise, have a lot of passion about the cars.
In Mexico City, in a series which means a lot to me, like Jaguar I-PACE eTROPHY, is going to be incredible.
Mexico City track is really different to the Saudi track that we were on last time. It's a lot wider, obviously. There's runoff and not the walls. That makes overtaking opportunities a little bit easier.
There are lots of tight sections, so especially on the first lap, I think there's probably going to be a bit of rubbing, a few ambitious moves.
Here in Mexico, we have half a racetrack, half street circuit. So some parts are going to be more grippy, some parts less grippy.
Whether you're going to be here watching in the stadium section or at home on the TV, I think you're going to be in for a little treat.
The people can see that how we can race actually with cars that they can buy in the shop.
I came to win. My target is going back to Brazil with the lead of the championship.
Now that the first race is out of the way, nobody wants anything other than a win, and you'll see everybody fighting for that tooth and nail.
So fighting talk from all of the drivers there. Everybody hugely looking forward to coming here to make many of the drivers feeling that they've got a point to prove. But that point has been successfully made by the pole sitter, Catherine Legg. So, Catherine, right. You really came to this race feeling like you had something to prove.
Yeah, a little bit, because Saudi we didn't get to qualify, so it wasn't a great. And we have some points to catch up on now. So feeling good, a little bit warm and coasty here, but I don't know to prove a point. I just want to go out there and win.
Good luck, Catherine. And of course, sitting in second position, we've got her teammate, Brian Sellers. Now, Brian lost out in the last race. Brian, how are you feeling going into this race?
Good. I think we showed well, and we have strong cars, but it'll be very different once the race starts to unfold. The temperature is much different, and this is a very demanding circuit. So just try and go out, do the best we can, and see where we end up.
Well, good luck there to both of you. Brian.
All right, thank you, Amanda. I'm here with Simon Evans. Simon, a complete different role reversal from the race in Saudi Arabia. You are chasing. What approach are you going to take on this race?
Yeah, quite a different first quarter this time. It's been really hard to put a complete lap together here, and it's going to be, I think, hard to pass. So I might have to wait for a mistake, and if I've got the pace, try pressure him into one. But yeah, I'll get through the first lap, and then I'll wipe the options then. Because the cars are all the same, I guess the key to success is every lap has to be really, really clean. Yeah, and that's probably the difference in qualifying. You know, not many people put together a complete lap, and that's where probably the difference was. But we've got 25 minutes to make as little mistakes as possible. But hey, it's going to be a hot one out there. Lucky it's been summer in New Zealand at the moment, so I'm used to the heat. You've acclimatised because of the New Zealand weather. Nice. Let's talk about the car. How does it handle? Because it is a completely different machine. Yeah, obviously, lots of unique things about it, obviously, which makes it an interesting drive. I really enjoy it. Obviously, the road tyre, Michelin done a really good job. It's something you can buy off the shelf. The weight of the car, how the delivery of power is. Obviously, it's instant. It drives like a four-wheel drive car because of the front motor and the rear motor. But yeah, you couldn't really take any habits from any other cars, which I think is like a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not sure. But the cars are so evenly close, it's proven that in practice and qualifying.
All right, well, your mechanic is getting rid of the heat protector on the windscreen. I'm going to close the door. All the very best, Simon. There you go. It is getting hot down here on the track, so let's throw to our race commentators, Jack Nicholls and Ho Pin Tung.
Thank you very much, Vernon. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the second race for the Jaguar I-PACE eTROPHY series. And you can see the cars are all lined up on the grid. The grid is starting to be cleared. We're just 4 minutes or so away from the start of this race. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Ho Pin Tung, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, Ho Pin.
Yeah, really looking forward. Entirely different race from round one in Riyadh. Very different type of circuit, very different weather conditions. We saw this morning in qualifying already. Lots of sliding cars, drivers making small mistakes, so it's promising to be an interesting race.
Yep, certainly is. So the Mexican fans in the grandstand looking forward to seeing support series action for the Formula E race for the first time. And the cars are now all lined up on the grid, ready for this 25-minute plus 1 lap race. Here's a look at the track. 2 kilometers long, 17 turns through the long right-hander of 2, the chicane at 3, 4 and 5, then dipping into the stadium section through 7, 8, 9 and 10, and then exiting out through the final chicane, and then all the way to the finish line. The second race of the Jaguar I-PACE eTROPHY series about to get underway. Catherine Legge on pole position, Brian Sellers alongside her on the front row of the grid. Then it is Simon Evans in third place. Salvador Duran is right behind him. And here's a look at the grid. The signal to start up their engines is given, and Catherine Legge for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing is on pole position. Her teammate alongside her, Brian Sellers, and they will want to get a good result. Then it's the championship leader, Simon Evans, 21 points. He's 6 points clear of Sergio Jimenez up at the top. Then we've got Salvador Duran, the VIP driver for this weekend in the #1 Jaguar Racing entry. Then it's Caca Bueno for the Jaguar Brazil Racing team. He starts in 5th. The TWR Techeetah entry of Stefan Radzinski, the Canadian, starts in 6th position. And Sergio Jimenez, who finished 2nd in Adiria in the first race, all the way back in 7th place on the grid. Then it's the first of the Pro-Am cars for the amateur drivers class, and that is Bandar Al-Asai, who takes pole position there. Then behind him, it is going to be Yachi Zhang. 10th place, completing the top 10, is Bin Kanan in the other Saudi racing entry. And then we've got Celia Martin, the young French racer. She is starting in 11th place, and at the back of the grid, making a one-off appearance this weekend, it is Chi Lin. So the starts in these cars, Ho Pin Tung, no clutches or anything like that. You just boot the throttle, easy?
Yeah, just floor it. These I-PACE eTROPHY cars based on the I-PACE production cars. So also these cars, 4-wheel drive, so plenty of traction here, not an issue. The driver can actually change the power distribution themselves in the car, but most of the drivers always choose to put as much torque to the rear wheels.
Just saw a shot at Bobby Rahal there, a racer in his own right, 3 times kart champion, winner of the 1986 Indy 500. He's now a team owner. He's won the Indy 500 as a team owner as well. And there he is in the centre, and now he's seeing his Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing cars locking out the front row. Catherine Legge ahead of Brian Sellers. Legge finished 5th in Adiria, but she didn't qualify very well and had to climb her way up the order. Well, qualifying was actually cancelled, and so that's why she started a little bit further back. Some cool t-shirts in there, and there you can see the cars lining up on the grid. And we will be just moments away from the start of this 25-minute plus 1 lap race. There's the view from Salvador Duran, the Mexican, and they're going to expect a lot of cheers for him as he comes into the stadium section. The lights go green, and the cars will pull forward. This is their only chance, Ho Pin Tung, to get any kind of temperature into the tyres. And they're not actually really, I thought they'd give it a bit of stick for the 2 grid slots?
No, on the contrary. I think these cars, you would like to have the tires to try to keep them cool, especially in a long race like this, and with a current track temperature far exceeding 30 degrees, close to 40 degrees. You would want to keep the tires as cool as possible. So I expect actually drivers to start to struggle in the second part of the race due to this, tires probably overheating.
Green flag waved at the back of the field. The second race in the brand new Jaguar I-PACE eTROPHY series about to begin. Leg and Sellers on the front row. Evans and Duran 3rd and 4th. Sergio Jimenez is down in 7th place. All 5 lights are on. And away we go, and it's a reasonable start for Simon Evans. He immediately cuts to the inside line on the run down towards turn 1. Not much of a braking zone at the first corner. Salvador Duran tries to go around the outside of Evans at the first corner. Great move from the Mexican. Bit of contact further back. Celia Martin's been pushed off over the grass, but really good stuff from Salvador Duran. Evans is trying to get back up the inside, and they're being squeezed together as they come towards turn 3. And Evans is now going to lose out to Caca Bueno as well. So the championship leader, Simon Evans, loses 2 places on the opening lap.
Yeah, very aggressive move, but greatly executed by Salvador Duran. Braking slightly late on the outside and then keeping his line. Of course, Simon Evans not wanting to take any risk into braking for turn 3. And Duran, being the guest driver here. Oh, great
the
move
inside
there on Sellers.
Wow, Salvador Duran is really trying to give the Mexicans a show, trying to force his way up into 2nd place there. Wasn't quite able to pull it off. That gives Catherine Legg in the lead a little bit more of an advantage. But Duran, I suppose it's a one-off race. Might as well go out there and have some fun.
One-off race, and he showed great pace in practice and also in qualifying. So he got grips on the car very quickly, and as you could see, the opening lap for him very, very strong. Despite the small touch just now in the stadium section, still very close to Brian Sellers.
Here they come then down into turn 1 again. Sellers covering the inside line. In a strange way, it doesn't matter if Sellers gets overtaken by Salvador Duran, because Duran is not eligible for championship points. So Sellers would still be a net 2nd in class. You can see on the tower on the left-hand side, the blue background colours are the pros. Oh, thought there was going to be a move there. And the white background colours are the amateurs, and it's Zhang actually leading that. So Al-Asai didn't get a very good start. But yeah, Sellers doesn't need to ruin his race fighting with Duran.
Yeah, I think also with that perspective, probably Simon Evans didn't go too aggressive on Duran in turn 3. Simon did have the inside line there, but didn't really push it to the real far limit there. However, he then got caught out, being overtaken by Bueno, actually on the outside there under the braking. So yeah, lost another position. Won't be very pleased about that. One driver to look out for, I think, is going to be Sergio Jimenez. Had a very poor qualifying, but did the least laps of everyone in practice and qualifying combined.
And a full course yellow deployed. Full course yellow deployed. Maybe there's a bit of debris on the circuit, because it looks as though all the cars are still running. We had a few cars go off at the first corner, so everybody now slows down to 50 kilometers an hour. Oh, yeah, what's that? That's not a part of a Jaguar there, is it?
No, it's a part of the track. It's one part probably of a curbstone.
Or it might be a bit that holds those Tech Pro barriers together, or some the belt around the Tech Pro. Let's have a look here at some of the action. Wow, they get oh, there it is. That scared me a little bit.
There you have the answer. These I-PACE eTROPHY cars.
Obviously, there wasn't a cameraman on that. Well, that was a lock-off camera, just in case anyone's concerned.
These cars are able to run over the curbs a lot more aggressive than the Formula E cars.
Here's a look at the start then. Salvador Duran in the blue car, the phosphor blue car, going around the outside of Simon Evans at the first corner. Sort of quite... He almost got up alongside Sellers as well. That's where Al-Asai lost out, and Celia Martin got knocked out wide as well. Here's a look at it on the inside of the first corner. Oh, that was forceful stuff. So that was Zhang, wasn't it? Forcing his way into the lead of Pro-Am. And pushing both Saudi drivers off and on onto the side of the course. The green flag again, up the inside. That's a bold move from Jimenez, trying to force his way past Evans. Didn't quite manage to pull it off. Salvador Duran is right in there as well, so the full course yellow is over. And now we are back underway, racing-wise. But I think Sergio Jimenez, that's a big slide, and he's gone. Is that Is that damage for Lin there? He seemed to be sliding for an awful long time, but he's now going to drop all the way down to last place for Lin Chi. There's the move! Forceful! Oh, no! Bueno, and Duran's car's broken, and Simon Evans, the championship leader, is involved in that as well, and that looks a little bit... Oh, and there's problems here for... Is that going to be Radzinski? Yes, it is, in the TWR car. He's got damage as well, so we've just lost a huge chunk of cars. There's damage to the front of Zhang as well, who's up into 4th place, but that all got quite messy at the chicane there.
Yeah, I think Duran is also out with a broken right front wheel, probably the track rod broken there. But yeah, bad thing for Simon Evans, our championship leader, obviously. Wasn't really involved in that incident, but yeah, got completely caught out when the track was blocked.
Well, here we go. So a look up the inside. Duran turned in, and then Duran just gave it a bit back. You're the driver there, hoping that this is up to you. This is up to you to call this one.
Yeah, it was a bold move from Jimenez. We saw him kind of doing the same on Sellers in Adria. Oh, sorry, no, I have to say, my apologies. This is Jaguar Bueno, obviously.
Yeah.
Bold move there, but I mean, fair and square. I think the run probably pushed it through a little bit too aggressive there. They could have, I mean, gone through together almost. The second nudge was definitely one too much.
Yeah, and then that's Simon Evans getting involved in all the kerfuffle as well, and then it was all a concertina effect, really. Everybody into the back of everybody else, and cars all around the place. And Salvador Duran, the Mexican, is out now. Jimenez up into 3rd place, having started down in 7th spot. And what have we got here? Oh, there's problems, I think, for Zhang. He's losing a lot of speed, and around the outside comes Binkanen. Binkanen gets it slowed down, turns it in, and takes the place. Can't help but feel that Zhang's in trouble, because now Celia Martin is trying to go through as well. Yeah. Simon Evans has managed to keep going up at the back there.
Zhang seems to have a lot of damage on the front of his car. I'm not sure whether it has also affected. Hear some rattling sounds, so probably also got something on the wheels.
Here are the 2 leaders, though. Catherine Legg ahead of Brian Sellers, 1st and 2nd place still. And we'll see whether these 2 teammates start to duke it out.
Brian Sellers obviously finished 3rd in the first race in Adria. But with Catherine Legg showing extremely strong pace there, I think she'll be extremely keen on translating that into a win today.
And Bueno is up into 4th place then, so I think he's just got past Radzinski as the top 2 come around into turns 3, 4 and 5 again. There's Bobby Rahal refreshing his Twitter feed by the looks of things, and he'll be happy to see his 2 cars out in 1st and 2nd places at the moment. Jimenez in 3rd. Evans has managed to get past Lin and is now up into 9th spot. Jimenez and Bueno in 3rd and 4th. Radzinski's back in front of Binkanen, so Radzinski into 5th place. Or just as I say that, Binkanen goes back past Radzinski.
Yeah, Radzinski also with quite heavy damage on his car that we saw from the earlier carnage here in this turns 13, 14.
Here come the 2 leaders again. 16.5 minutes to go, plus 1 lap. And they've got a very big lead over Sergio Jimenez in 3rd place. It was 4.3 seconds. It's still 4.3 seconds, so very similar laps on that last lap. And the same is true of Legg and Sellers. They're absolutely nose to tail. Lin drops down to 9th place now. And Evans has now got past Celia Martin, so Evans' charge back through the order is going well as we go on board with Catherine Legg leading the way. A little check in the mirrors. She looks fairly relaxed.
Very concentrated. I spoke with Catherine earlier today, and she basically said in these cars, less is more. So basically, as you could just see also, just trying to steer as calm as possible. Try to keep the car calm. Don't force any understeer or oversteer. Just to keep those tires in good shape for the entire duration of the race.
This would actually be very close. If they finish first and second, do the maths in a second, but it's going to be close between the two of them as far as the championship is concerned as they come out of the final corner. Still a long way to go, but if Brian Sellers were to finish in second place, he'd pick up 15 points, so he'd be on a total of 26. Leg to win would give her 27. So if it finishes like this, Leg would be 1 point ahead of Sellers at the top of the championship. But I don't think Sellers is going to want to let that happen, is he?
Absolutely not. I think he personally probably felt that he made a minor mistake by opening the door a little bit too much in Adria and allowing Sergio Jimenez to pass him there. Meanwhile, we see Simon Evans, the fastest man on the circuit, fighting very hard with both cars from Saudi Racing.
Yep, around the outside, he tries to go about Asai, he isn't quite able to do it. Buchanan's got his rear bumper dragging along the ground.
And the floor of the car seems to be damaged as well, and that definitely is going to cost him a bit of speed. You will lose a lot of aero.
Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah, and efficiency having such a damaged car.
Through the stadium section they come. Can Simon Evans find his way through? If he does, he'll be up into 5th place. Here come the two leaders though. Leg ahead of Sellers, still just 0.3 of a second between them. Sellers late on the brakes through turn 1. I feel he's lining something up here. Yeah. They come to 3, 4 and 5.
It will need to be a very decisive move from Brian Sellers, and a real opportunity, because the last thing you would want to do is to take your teammate out, obviously, with a bit over-ambitious move. Simon Evans looking again on the outside of Alesai.
Still not able to quite find the move. Lin in 8th, Celia Martin in 9th, Radzinski still in 10th place. Radzinski picked up damage in Adiria as well and ended up finishing down in 12th position. So another race affected by a bit of damage for Stefan Radzinski. There's a look to the inside there. That's a bold place to go for it. Evans trying to just put Alesai a little offline, and it's worked. He's up the inside, they make contact. Alesai goes straight on and cuts the corner. So Evans doesn't get through this time. And now Alesai actually has gained quite a big advantage from that, from cutting the corner, and Evans will have to work hard to try and close in on them again.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see what race control will do with this. First lap we saw Brian Sellers actually doing the same when Salvador Duran was alongside of him there in turn 9, sorry.
There was the little nudge. Evans thought he saw a gap.
He had a big part of his car alongside him, so yeah, technically Alesai could have given a little bit more space. I would actually think that Alesai would probably still have been in front exiting the stadium there if he would have just given slightly more space.
Yeah, it was an ambitious one from Simon Evans though, wasn't it? Salvador Duran has been asked to report to the stewards after the race, presumably for ramming into the side of Caca Bueno. Yeah. But maybe it was something else.
That second, I mean, the first nudge, yeah, you could say it's maybe, you know, if you try to make a move, aggressive move by Bueno, but was well executed. The second move, nudge from Salvador Duran was probably slightly too much.
Very diplomatically put, Opin. 11 minutes plus 1 lap to go, and still the two leaders are nose to tail. Catherine Legg ahead of Brian Sellers. The two teammates. It's all very well saying the #1 rule as they come up to lap Celia Martin is don't take your teammate out, but everyone knows that rule doesn't mean they do it. Sellers is going to get held up a little there. wonder if Martin's got a problem at all, because she started to go really slowly. That last lap was 20 seconds off the pace, so I wonder if she's really got a problem. We saw Radzinski really slowing as well. Look how close Sellers is now, though. You only need 2 cars to make a motor race, and these are absolutely bumper to bumper coming into the chicane. Leg has to cover. That's going to give Sellers a good run out down the start-finish straight. Leg actually got a good exit, despite covering the inside. Yeah, she managed to keep the distance.
She did that well. Managed to stop the car a little bit earlier, knowing she had the inside line covered, and then go on the power early to have a good exit and actually creating a bit of a gap. Just like in Adria in round 1 of the I-PACE eTROPHY series, we saw Brian Sellers having actually really good pace in the race, trailing Simon Evans for the entire race, and a bit the same here with trailing Catherine Legg. And I actually think, looking at the behavior of the car, that he definitely has the better pace at this moment of the 2 in front. So any small mistake from Catherine Legg will definitely be punished by overtaking.
Here's a look at the Saudi pair, who have got bodywork dangling off everywhere, and they're battling for the lead in Pro-Am. So 2 teammates battling for the lead in the Pro class, and 2 battling for the lead in Pro-Am. And Simon Evans has dropped back a lot from these 2.
I'm wondering whether the small contact he had with Alizai in the stadium, turn 9, might have affected something on this car, because she's suddenly lost quite a bit of pace there, running more than 2 seconds slower than he did before.
I also wonder whether he knows he's too far behind Cacabueno. He'll still get the same points whether he overtakes these 2 drivers or not, because of the way the class system works. So is there any point having a fight with these guys who are not going to, be particularly that rear bumper? I'm surprised that Bincannon hasn't been given the
meatball flag.
The meatball flag, yeah, I couldn't remember the official name for it. The mechanical warning flag, I think it is. Yeah. To say there's something wrong with your car.
I think you would definitely, if I was Simon Evans, I would definitely keep on pushing and try to overtake these 2 cars from Saudi Racing. You never know what happens in the race. Perhaps, the bumper of Bincannon will fall off, a safety car will happen, the field will bunch up back together, and then you will suddenly find yourself in a very good fighting position.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I truly think that something happened on the car, because she lost quite a bit of pace relatively to the beginning.
Here come the Pro-Am leaders again then. They're battling for 5th, but for the lead in the Pro-Am class, Radzinski's limping around in his I-PACE. As the crowd begins to grow and grow, 30,000 people the Foro of Sol Stadium holds, and we're getting close to that.
Alizai must be very keen to try to overtake Bincannon, even though he took pole position twice and earned the extra points for that in both Riyadh and here also in Mexico. They finished also 1st and 2nd in Riyadh, Alizai taking the win. So a win from Bincannon would obviously bring them back together very closely.
Yeah. Stefan Radzinski going really slowly, Celia Martin going really slowly. There's sort of slow cars littering the circuit. And still the 2 race leaders, though, are not slowing down, absolutely nose to tail.
Yeah, Catherine Legg, I can't imagine she'd be very happy with the car as it's behaving for her at this moment, sliding a lot everywhere. At the moment she actually turns the wheel into the corner, you quite often see the tail coming out a little bit, whereas Sellers is just being able to keep a little bit tighter line there.
Good Mauser there.
Chairman of Jaguar Racing.
Great to have him here in Mexico City, watching this I-PACE eTROPHY race. Legg and Sellers still nose to tail, half a second between them.
That's the one thing where Catherine Legg is very strong. It's the last chicane, and she always manages to have a good exit there and pull a bit of a gap. And basically, I mean, turn 1 is arguably one of the better overtaking opportunities here, together with turn 3. And having that small gap coming start-finish straight always allows her to to keep Sellers behind.
Yeah, even when she had to cover the inside line because Sellers was so close, she still managed to take good speed out of it. Now she's into the stadium section. Eyes looking to the left as she turns left and then left again.
This is the point where Brian Sellers is strong. He always manages to really get into the bumper of Leg's car. Not this lap in particular, though.
Celia Martin has pitted. Rodzinski's now 3 laps down and has been shown the black flag with orange disc. So he will have to come to the pits and try and sort out whatever his problems are. And that is going to be Lin, who is on the circuit. I'm not sure if Lin's got damage or whether he's in his one and only race in the I-PACE eTROPHY, replacing Wong, who is missing this round.
I think Lin had a small come together already into turn 1 with Celia Martin.
Ah, yes, that's true. And that's why Martin's in a bit of trouble as well. Rodzinski, I believe, has stopped on the circuit now. Here's the battle for the lead in Pro-Am. Binkanen ahead of Alasai. And Simon Evans closing back in a little that last lap. He's 0.7 of a second quicker. So he's starting to haul himself back up. We've got 4.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
Still very far off the pace he would normally be able to do, Simon Evans, though. 2 Brazilian drivers from Jaguar Brazil Racing, having a bit of a lonely race after that altercation in the last chicane.
But actually, Jimenez in 2nd place with a 3rd place finish, he'd be on 26 points as well. So I think as it stands, Leg will lead the championship on 27. Sellers and Jimenez both 2nd on 26 points. So it'll be very tight at the top of the standings if it finishes like this. But anything can happen in the next 3.5 minutes plus 1 lap.
This is a big battle still going on.
Yeah.
Alasai keeping big pressure on Binkanen. And impressive defending, I have to say, from Binkanen there.
Especially there's the look! No, not quite.
It's such an injured car.
Yeah. There you can see the gaps between the various battles. Leg and Sellers now 5 seconds ahead of Sergio Jimenez, who in turn is 11 seconds ahead of Cacabueno, who got quite a lot of damage in that carnage with Salvador Duran.
Very slow lap, last lap from Cacabueno, so yeah, need to keep a close watch on whether he perhaps also had some damage on the car that prevents him now from going fast.
I feel Alasai is getting a little bit frustrated. He's starting to show his nose at most corners, and as a result has dropped back into the clutches of Simon Evans, the man from Auckland. And now they're getting past Lin. We're on board with Evans.
Lin is almost on a sightseeing tour. The lap times he's doing is 20 seconds almost off the pace at the moment. Probably damage on the car.
Yeah, he is a journalist, Lin, so he's not done a huge amount of racing before. Filling in for this one race for the China team. 2 minutes and 11 seconds plus 1 lap to go. And Simon Evans is right in this battle now. There he is in the 99 car. Out across the line to start the 18th lap of the race. Leg, Sellers, Jimenez, Bueno, the top 4. Binkanen, Alasai and Evans. You can see how much Evans has closed in those last 2 laps. He's taken almost 1.5 seconds out of the 2 Saudi drivers, and there's the look to the outside from Alasai. Alasai's doing the right things, but it doesn't end up working out for him. You know, he takes a wider line in, but doesn't actually get the drive out.
Yeah, it looks like see some debris on the straight there. It looks like that all the time the drivers they do line it up very well on the exit of the chicanes. Both Binkanen and of course Leg was trying to hold off Sellers for a long time now this race.
Yeah. Sellers is dropping back a little. We are. It's going to be tight actually with the 0 clock here. This may be the penultimate lap of the race, but it's going to be quite tight, I think. So we'll have to wait and see as they come into the stadium section once more. But yeah, Sellers isn't as close as he previously has been. See the
Catherine Legg a little bit wide there in turn 9.
The rubber flying off these Michelin tyres, and Al-Asai is past Binkanen, and through comes Evans as well. Binkanen really, oh, he's got a problem, hasn't he, Binkanen? Because he's suddenly really, oh, maybe not. It looked like he really slowed, as though the damage had got too much for him.
I think he slightly went offline there in turn 2, and as we saw in the previous TV shots as well, on the outside line there, a lot of rubber.
Look what's going to happen here. Are they going to get across the line? I don't think so. I think this might be the final lap. Yes, it is. So the final lap of the race now. Catherine Legg leading. Sellers in second place. Just 2 kilometers to go to decide who will lead the championship at the end of this afternoon of racing in the Jaguar I-PACE eTROPHY series.
Legg again slowing down her car very well on the entry of the chicane and just making sure that she can go on the power early, giving Brian Sellers no chance to have a run on her.
A couple more corners to go. These two, Sellers wants to pass, wants to try and pass, but they do not want to make a Horlicks out of it, and Legg goes a little bit wide. And that could give Sellers the opportunity for a last corner lunge. He looks a bit far away, doesn't he?
Well, don't forget turn 12, Sellers, oh, it's very close now.
This is
I do think Catherine will probably close off the inside line again. Yeah, brakes early there.
Sellers goes to the outside, but Legg is surely going to hold on here. Out and round the final corner. The checkered flag is waiting. It's a 1-2 for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing, and victory in the top of the championship for Catherine Legg. Brian Sellers, her teammate, pushed them all the way. Handshakes all around for Bobby Rahal. And Catherine Legg takes the win. Waves to the crowd. Who's going to win in Pro-Am? It looks as though it's going to be Al-Asai. Managed to force his way past as they put another lap on Lynn. Into the final chicane. Al-Asai gets it stopped, and Bandar Al-Asai is going to make it 2 out of 2. A clean sweep. Pole position in the race win in both at Diriyah and in Mexico City in the Pro-Am class in the Jaguar I-PACE eTROPHY series. Simon Evans across the line in 6th place. And Binkanen 7th, and then Lynn will take the checker flag now. Jimenez and Bueno in 3rd and 4th.
Catherine Legg here, perfect day for her. Pole position, extra points for this as well, and a very dominant win, start to finish. So she'll be delighted with how the race run today. Not so much probably Simon Evans, who really got caught out there. None of his fault at all. He's just a spectator, but yeah, just chose the wrong side on the outside there in the chicane. Got nowhere to go, had to bring the car to a complete stop.
There's Caco Bueno. A shame as well for Salvador Duran. He got stuck in there in the early stages, made some great overtakes, but in the end it all got a bit too much. There's the checkered flag, not the actual checkered flag, of course. And this is what happened with Binkanen and Al-Asai into turn 1. Wow. Whoa! That was a bold one from Bandar Al-Asai. And Simon Evans managed to take advantage of it as well, because they bumped, and he saw his opportunity, did the Kiwi. Yeah, just about managed to get up the inside.
Okay. One time I thought I had a shot at you, though.
I kept on like doing teeny tiny mistakes with that.
Brian Sellers saying one time he thought he had a shot at Legg, but it didn't work out. And Catherine Legg takes the victory. And here are the results of the second ever Jaguar I-PACE eTROPHY race. Catherine Legg taking the win, just 0.4 of a second ahead of Brian Sellers. But those two, after the chaos in the early laps, ended up quite far away from the rest of the field. Sergio Jimenez in 3rd, Caco Bueno in 4th. Bandar Al-Asai winning the Pro-Am class in 5th position, then Simon Evans in 6th. Binkanen, Chilin, the 8 finishers. Celia Martin, not classified. Stefan Radzinski, not classified. And nor were Yachi Zhang and Salvador Duran, all retiring from the race. So, a look at the arenas all the way around Mexico City, and this arena here in the heart of the park is starting to fill up now. But Catherine Legg takes victory after 20 laps of racing, and we can go back down to that.
Brian, second place, talk us through it.
It was a good race. I mean,
It really was.
I was stuck behind Catherine the entire time. Not that I had anything more than she did, but we were just kind of nose to tail. And one thing the boss said before we went out is don't hit your teammates. So there were a couple times close, but fortunately, we came away 1-2. I don't know what happened behind us, but...
Oh, Brian, wait till you see what happened behind you, my friend.
To be honest, I'm thankful it happened behind us, because all I know is I came onto the front straightaway with Salvador Duran right behind me, and he was being pretty aggressive, so I thought, man, I need to get a gap from him. And then I thought, looked in my mirror, and there's nobody around, so I thought, man, for sure we'll go full course caution, but it didn't, and that gap kind of maintained. So we were able just to kind of run our own pace through the race.
And this fierce, I'll call it a rivalry, but it's not really. This fierce rivalry between you and Catherine continues. She's such a good driver, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, it is a rivalry. I mean, you can call it what it is, and she would admit the same. I mean, there's nobody you want to beat more than the person that you're, teamed up against. But that doesn't mean that we don't work together really well. And I think we both actually struggled a little bit in certain areas this weekend and really worked hard to make sure we optimized everything. So that's why we were able to qualify up front and then ultimately race up front. So, there's nobody better to have on the top step than your teammate, and nobody worse at the same time. But I'm super happy for her. She drove a perfect race.
I spoke to Simon Evans before the race, and he said the key to success in this racing series is clean laps, constant clean laps. How difficult is it to do that?
Well, it's really hard. I mean, at the end of the day, what people don't realize is this is still based around a street car. So you have a 4,000-pound vehicle, and you have to be precise every step of the way. And it's very easy to make a mistake, to overstep those boundaries. And so what you try and do is just drive within yourself the best you can. Meanwhile,
that takes a lot of patience, though, Brian.
Well, the difficulties is you have guys behind you trying to do the same thing and push you. So it's certainly a series that will refine racecraft and patience and all those things. So it's great to be here.
All right, Brian, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much. Amanda is with our race winner, Catherine.
Well, Catherine, getting called off there, I mean, you've just made history. You're the first woman to have ever won on a Formula E weekend and in an electric car. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was an interesting race because I looked, after the first lap, I looked in my mirror and it was just Brian and I. I don't know what happened behind me, but then I knew it was just playing it safe, and Brian's a really good driver, so I couldn't make any mistakes, and I just had to keep my head down. And we were slowish, because we were just managing the race. But yeah, just really glad to get that first one out of the way and on to the next, a bit more points.
Now, I mean, first, there's so much happened in that race. When you watch it back, you just wait and see. There was an awful lot that happened. Now, we know that obviously Brian lost out in the first race in Saudi. Do you think that was going to sort of be playing to your disadvantage at all? Were you particularly worried about how he might be making a move later on in the race?
No, not really, because I think with your teammate, there's a level of safety that they're not going to do anything stupid. And Bobby Rahal said to us both before we went out there, he's like, oh, we're going to get run over. He said, don't hit each other, basically. So I knew that Brian would be sensible. I knew he'd be smart, and he lined me up a couple of times, and I managed to defend it. But really, it was because we had the gap back to third. I think if we hadn't had that, we'd have had to have been a little bit more hammered down.
Listen, well done. Huge congratulations. Vernon.
All right, thank you, Amanda. I'm with Salvador Duran, who's already had a shower, got change, got his casual outfit on, and he's got his tickets ready for the after party. But there's one incident that we have to talk about. What happened in the chicane?
Well, it's just, I think, I don't know which car went a little bit optimistic, hit me on the rear, just lost the grip, and going to the outside, there's obviously no place for two cars. I had to keep on the throttle, otherwise I will go to the wall. So at the end, into the next left-hander, there was no space for two cars, so that's what happened. Now,
are you aware that you've got to go and report to the stewards and tell them what happened?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I think there's telemetry there, everything you can see. But obviously, this is racing incidents. I mean, it's part of it. It's part of the racing. I think I did a great start. The first lap was good, trying past Sellers. I think the category is great, and this is the show that people want to see, right? And very close racing, and the only way to pass obviously is giving a little bit of a hit. So I think some people.
Did you turn into him on purpose, or was that totally by accident? Did you just want to get out of the way?
I couldn't see. You know, I didn't saw where he was. So obviously, I was already mid half spun. So obviously, when I kept going on throttle, so I don't lose it anymore, he was over there. But for sure, I thought he was going to abort it when he hit me. But when I saw him again in there, if I kept braking, everybody would just pass me.
It looked like you had an awful lot of fun there. Were you aware of the noise that all the fans were making in this section of the stadium?
Yes, I know. It's incredible, and this is what it's about. And the last couple of laps with Catherine and Brian, I think the people enjoy it, and that's what we want to see.
Yeah, awesome stuff. All right, you go off and report yourself. Thank you very much. Amanda, over to you.
Well, listen, Sergio, P3, I mean, what a race. You got a really good view of what was going on. But first of all, huge congratulations to you. You must be very pleased.
I'm very happy. We have no good qualifying. We went with the same setup from the Pratex, but the track was much better today, the rubber. And for now, for the race, we changed, was better, but not enough yet. But anyway, a bit lucky is good too.
Definitely.
I saw the move there, and I braked earlier to save, and I knew that they will spin, and I was just to see where I should go, and I did the right choice, and good P3 for the championship.
Now, you definitely did the right thing there. Did you expect it to be quite so messy?
Yes, because the guy was changing some scratches, yeah. And I saw that. Anyway, for this car to pass, you need to be forced a little bit. But in this tight corner, and especially chicane, if you made a mistake, happened what happened. And I saw the move there, and I tried to avoid. I gained one position on the start, it was very good. And I was fast as that guys, but anyway, I saved the P3. I have the damage a lot on the car. I think it's, for me, was not good for the race, because the car was very oversteered because of the damage. But anyway, we saved a good result.
And it's also a good result for the championship.
Yeah, it's very good. Championship is tough, will be a lot of good drivers. The car is very sensitive to the setup, and we went very good yesterday, but today we're not very strong, so we need to work a little bit more.
Well, you've done a great job. Congratulations to you. Vernon.
All right, I'm with Simon Evans. Simon, at the start of the race, you were top of the championship. You finished 6th, I think it was. Talk us through the incident in the chicane, because you were at the back of it all. You saw it all happen. You saw it all pan out.
Yeah, I probably had the best view of it, to be honest. I thought Kaka made a good move, and I'm not too sure why Salvador didn't relinquish. You know, where everyone else is paying to be here, and he's not, and he just takes someone out when he doesn't really need to. But and then the rest of the race was okay. I made contact with the Saudi drivers and bit my steering, so I had no pace at the end there. But I probably feel I shouldn't have been back there in the first place.
Well, it looked like you had a good battle with the Saudi drivers.
Yeah, we fight for our own points. You know, I'm a pro, they're pro-am, so it's a little bit frustrating when they're defending when we're racing for separate points, but that's the way it is. But yeah, I just had a bad first couple of corners, but yeah, I feel like the chicane probably could have been handled a little bit better from the VIP driver.
All right, let's mix it up, let's stir it up. Are you going to go and have a word with Duran?
I mean, it's more between him and Kaka, but I think it's maybe the series needs to just have a word to the VIP guys. You know, they get to drive for free, and we're all paying to be here, and it's a bit unfair on our sponsors who are actually paying to be here.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you very much, Simon. Appreciate your time, really do. Amanda, over to you.
Well, perhaps one of the biggest losers there, Kaka Bueno. I'm sorry, it was a really tough race for you. And I know it's been a challenging weekend as well, but can you take anything positive out of this?
No. No, I'm so frustrated because my car have a lot of problems all weekend. But in the beginning of the race, I'm go well. My car brakes so well. I take one position. I take 2 positions about Duran. I brake inside, clean enough. Duran bumped me once. And after this, I more than one car in front and bumping in the rear wheel. It's so difficult to understand one guy, this experience in racing track, make some, I don't know, some crazy movie. It's not a movie for, not any, expected for any pro driver make a move like that.
Putting all of that aside, at least now we have a very short gap between the next race. Can you move forwards? Do you think you can go into the next race in Hong Kong with a clean sheet of paper and fire in your belly?
I hope so. I hope so. I hope my car go a little bit better than this weekend. I lost 4 or 5 kilometers in the straight all the weekend. It's tough for me. It's very tough for me because if you're not qualifying the front row when circuits like that, everything could happen, like the move with Duran. I hope in Hong Kong the cars work a little bit better, and I start to move in the front of the championship.
Well, it's going to be a very different track there, so fingers crossed for you. Vernon.
Thank you, Amanda. I'm here with James Barclay. Now, James, your day job, is it overseeing the I-PACE eTROPHY, or is your day job team principal of the Formula E team?
Well, yeah, principally it's looking after the Formula E program, but this falls under my remit as looking after Jaguar Racing and all things motorsport at Jaguar Land Rovers. So, you know, really proud we've kind of brought this to reality, and yet again, round 2, we've had I think a really exciting race. Some real
incident-filled. Incident-filled.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think Catherine did firstly an amazing job. I mean, what a clean weekend, topping practice sessions, topping qualifying, and then lights the flag win. I mean, a really classy weekend for her, and first female winner on a Formula E weekend, first female winner in an electric racing car. That's a really nice, momentous moment for her and for all of us.
Well, we're making history, and she is such an awesome driver, so competitive, but yet so fierce with the other drivers around her. That's what we're looking for, isn't it, in motorsport, with the women mixing it up with the girls, with the boys, sorry.
To be honest, yeah, every single driver here, you have to give it your all, and you've got to kind of have no chinks in your armour. You can't compromise for anyone, and she's absolutely got that skill set. And you know, Brian, likewise, great team for Rahal Lennon Racing. They got the 1-2, and Brian was very mature there. I saw he had a bit of a late attack. Once he realised it probably wasn't going to work, he thought points or prizes, and he's in a good place for the championship now as well.
All right, thank you very much, James. Really appreciate your time, as always. All right, let's go to back to Jack in the commentary booth.
Thank you, Vernon. Let's have a look at the results once more for the Jaguar I-PACE eTROPHY Series, the second race of the season. Catherine Legg takes the victory after 20 laps of racing, 25 minutes plus 1 lap, and Brian Sellers in second place. Third and fourth for Jaguar Brazil Racing. Caca Bueno disappointed. He wants to be back at the top of the championship, but alas, it may take him some time. Yachi Shang and Salvador Duran not classified, along with Radzinski and Celia Martin. And that's how close it is. Oh, actually, we've got 3 drivers tied for 26 points. So Catherine Legg on 27, then Evans, Jimenez and Sellers all on 26 points together. Not quite as close in Pro-Am. Bandar Al-Asai winning both races. He is 11 points clear of his Saudi racing teammate Ahmed bin Kanan, with Tao Wang in third and Qilin fourth. Here's a look back at the second race of the season. Catherine Legg starting on pole position, got a good start, but Salvador Duran in the Phosphor Blue VIP entry was the man to watch in the opening laps. He went to the outside of Simon Evans. This was a brilliant move. Round the outside of turn 1. That was very impressive. There was a bit of rubbing further back. Bin Cannon making a move, forcing his way up the order. A little bit of running wide and bouncing on the grass. And then Salvador Duran was looking racy in the stadium section as well, trying to get up the inside of Sellers. Someone wiped out the camera on the inside, but then Salvador Duran wiped out Caca Bueno after he'd been overtaken. And then this was the view on board with Duran. Bump. Round goes Bueno, sent spinning, but that caused chaos behind. This was Sergio Jimenez, who suddenly, 3 positions, obrigado. And he was up into third place, and he stayed there until the end of the race. So the top 2, Legg and Sellers, started to disappear. They had a good lead over Jimenez in third place. A few looks here and there from the American Sellers in second position, but wasn't able to get past the British driver. Then Simon Evans tried to make his way past Bandar Al-Asai, but he wasn't quite able to do so on that occasion. This was the closest, really, that Sellers got to the back of Catherine Legg. And the 2 Saudi cars were battling over the Pro-Am victory as well. And in the end, the move was made with a couple of laps to go. Bandar Al-Asai up the inside, and that allowed Simon Evans to come through as well and make a move on Bin Cannon. But it was a first and second place for Catherine Legg and Brian Sellers. Legg moves to the top of the championship. It's a 3-way tie for second place. They're only just 1 point behind Catherine Legg. It's going to be a fascinating rest of the season. The next race coming up 10th of March, Hong Kong in China. We will see you then.
This is identifying the Formula E English feed outgoing circuit. Track 1, Track 2. This is identifying the Formula E English feed outgoing circuit. Track 1, Track 2.